said, this is a game the old Warriors win. Well, this isn't the old Warriors anymore. Stop thinking about the Warriors. And you know what? Even you said, hey, they're defending champions. They are defending champions, but they're just one of 6 to 9 teams. They're one of 6 to 9 teams that could win it all.
Gotcha.
The Warriors.
Okay, gotcha.
Why can't we just start watching them through that lens? They're not the best team in the NBA. Talent-wise, we know that. So they can win it this year. So that's how I'm looking at this team. I'm not looking at it like they're not going to win 55 games. That's becoming obvious, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, nobody knows what. I mean, they could run off 10 in a row, Steiny, but I'm with you. But if you're not going to win on the road, and I know I'm fixated with the road record, and a lot when they were going through a lot of problems, a lot of the games, they were 0-8 on the road, and that loss to Phoenix. So to me, I just feel like yesterday wasn't a playoff game, but they had to look at each other and be like, okay, this is where we really stunk. We're feeling it right now. We're playing better basketball. You just cited it. Let's go beat Luka and the Mavs. And they couldn't do it.
Well, and this is where you and I often differ. Okay, they couldn't do it. And I saw a game where Poole missed a wide-open 3 in the corner after they had a bunch of possessions. Curry walks with 10 seconds to go.
Yeah.
And Klay Thompson misses a great look.
Yeah, great
play.
So,
there are times when you got to make a shot. And they're right there. They gave themselves a shot.
All right.
And
Raymond Ritter is a make-or-miss league.
Here's the other thing. And I guess not a victory lap.
Oh, you got the sneakers on. I'll let you know if it qualifies.
It's not. It's not. Things are stable. When they were 3-7, I was like, oh, should they move Klay to the bench? Why is it? And I was like, well, there's nothing really you can do now. It's too early in the season. Wow. We're only 10 games in. I said, there's no way this team is this bad.
Those words.
There's no way. So I said, you got to keep playing.
All right.
Hope this thing stabilizes. Start getting a better look at your team and what you have. Hopefully it stabilizes by January 1st. If it doesn't stabilize by January 1st, well, then you already have your answer. You got to do something drastic.
Right.
But it looks like as we head toward January 1st, things are stabilizing. They're getting better. Ideally, they're going to be above 500 at the end of the month. And so then at that point, you start saying, okay, we know our top 6. And then we're going to play DiVincenzo and JaMychal Green. And can Kuminga, can that win a championship? And then you have to answer the question at that time. So I think they're sitting pretty right now. All things considered.
I'm not mad at that. And they got out of an early hole. You're right. And I like watching Dante play. I think he's a good warrior. JaMychal. Steiny, I get excited watching that second unit. And now Kuminga. And again, with Kuminga, I'm not saying, Steiny, one game he's back. But athletically, you just marvel at some of the things he can do and the gifts he was given. And he was Borden. He's doing all the little stuff. So last night, I thought they were going to win that game, especially when Dinwiddie got ejected. But Jordan Poole, I'm not saying it's a major problem, Steiny. I'm scratching my head as to, you're right. Last year, he was a starter primarily. Now he's asked to come in, as a 6-man, and I wouldn't know. And we got Zaza on the executive show at 1. What the mindset is when you don't get to start. But I'm watching him turn the ball over. I don't know. The traveling calls are calling it. So I don't know what's going through his head, but it's kind of odd right now early on with Jordan Poole watching him.
888-957-9570 is the number. That's also the number for the Xfinity mobile text line. We got Zaza Pachulia, as Guru said, at 1 o'clock, the executive show. But I'm a little bit surprised because when I was driving in, I was hearing Dibbs, and he was disappointed. And
yeah, and I ain't that disappointed.
No,
Sonny.
but you're not.
He was hot.
But I don't know. I'm interested to hear what Warrior fans think. I mean, I get it. 11-11 is 11-11, but they're also 8-4 over their last 12. And last night they lose a game to a guy who, look, he's going to make shots like that.
He is bad.
Then you got it. Then you can't go into the last 5 minutes even when it comes down to a player like that sometimes. But I just put it this way: when I made the bet with you, for $100,
yeah,
Guru said the Warrior. He's taking the Warriors. I'm taking the field. The reason I took the field is for one reason and one reason only, and that's because the odds are in my favor. Has nothing to do with any team, no animosity. I'm just going to take the field.
Yeah.
If you want to bet money, I will take the field, especially where it feels like there's a lot of parity. The first 10, 12 games, I was like...
You asked me, did I want to cancel?
I gave you an opportunity to pay me $75, and you didn't do it.
When you got to 50, I did think about it.
So when I'm looking at this team now I'm like, okay, all right, they're clearly better than 3 and 7.
And Clay looks like himself.
They're in the mix. They're in the mix. Are they the favorite? I don't know.
Well, they're defending champs, so you got to take it from
That doesn't
there.
make them the favorite.
No, I get that, but
in fact, they're probably not the favorite right now in the West.
No other
and
team
they
can refer. You're going to say this don't mean anything, but no other fan base or team can refer to their team as the champs, the defending champs. And to me, you could say to people out there that means nothing, but it means something to me. And the Warriors have that. Yeah.
Well, if it means it to you, that's all that matters.
Or the fan, Dub Nation.
I mean, they were champions before last year.
Yeah.
So, but no, whatever you're saying. They know they can do it.
Yeah.
This iteration, Curry knows he can do it. Fair enough. But see, I think this is where I do worry a little bit about like the Warriors and their fans. Like they're fine right now. They got off to a terrible start. They're 11-11. They're getting better. They're not the favorites, but there's still a scenario where like, you know what? They're still right there. They could win it all. So it's like I'm not going to nitpick Jordan Poole's tricky start. Or, I mean, they're right where they need to be.
Okay. Now, I'm not mad at that. I feel that. But when you say they're fine, I feel like you're comparing them to when they were at their lowest, the way that they started this season. I'm comparing them to what they did last June.
Yeah, I'm not. They're not. It's not the same team.
But
see, I'm smart enough to know.
But they got Curry,
they got
Clay,
worse. They got worse.
Okay.
This team is worse than last year.
But does that
it's
mean
also a touch older than last year.
Does that worse mean that they can't go back to back? I don't believe they can. I believe they can still go. Okay, they're not the same team.
I believe they're still a good team.
But their brand of basketball that they play and the seasoning from the youngsters and the new additions, by the time it's go time, Steiny, if they don't make a move, I'm going to feel like they're fine. But I'm kind of judging them through the lens of, and again, I'm the biggest Jordan Poole fan. But, Steiny, I'm wondering if that punch made them pay him sooner than they thought. Because how can you explain, I know it's early, what we're not seeing from him compared to last year? And if you say, hey, he was a starter, I get that. But it's kind of, I'm watching him, the passes, the traveling calls, the carrying calls. I'm like, man, who is he?
He's down 2 points from last year. 2.5, 18.5 to 15.9. His minutes are down from 30 to 27.5.
Okay.
His shooting was 44.8 last year. This year it's 41.5, down 3 points. And his three-point shooting's gone from 36 to 30.5.
Wow, that's where
his assists are up.
Okay.
His assists are up.
But that 36 to 30, Steiny, that's Draymond territory.
Okay, and that's one Klay Thompson 10 for 13 from being 35%. Okay. Like, I'm more worried about Klay Thompson still than
even after he did.
Jordan Poole.
He's been in fuego in November.
He's had more bad games than good games, Klay Thompson.
Well, but if we just looked at the numbers, a Martian came down from Mars and said,
but we know that's
what's he shooting from three? It's 40%.
Right, but we know he stunk the first 10 games of the year.
So did the team, but yet you're saying they're fine. I'm asking why does that stop when it comes to Klay Thompson?
What do you mean?
You saying the team's fine now because they got out the funk.
Yeah.
Klay started off in the funk.
Yeah.
He's winning fuego in November.
They're all playing a little better.
But you're still worried about him more so than the team.
Yeah, because of injury and age for Klay.
Which Barkley didn't back down from.
Why should he?
Yeah, I like Kuminga. That, like, you already know what I think of Kuminga, Steiny, so I ain't going to come here and say give him his all-star jersey. I'm just like, nothing surprises me when I see him. But now I think the message, I don't know if anything was said to him in the meeting, but whatever it is, he's doing the little things and getting those rebounds, stuff like that. He got the rebound to give them the chance to win the game, which was a great play. Clay! Damn.
888-957-9570 is the number. It's also the number of the Xfinity mobile text line. Where are you with the Warriors? They climb back to 11-11. I think things are trending up. I think they're one of
I'd say that
5
too,
teams in the league. They've also, their bench was an issue 10 games ago. Now they at least have addressed it, and it's gotten better. Adam's in San Francisco. Let's start us off, Adam. How you doing, man?
Hey, I'm doing well, you guys. How are you?
Doing well.
Good. Glad to hear it. I wanted to just come in, Steiny. You're saying, like, Warrior fans freaking out, everything. I'm calling in as a soothing, calm, cool, calm, collected Warriors fan that, like, we're very early into the season. Defense hasn't been looking good, but the effort is getting a little bit better. These guys are going to figure it out at some point. And it's been talked about all morning, but, man, the play of Kuminga last night, if you can just – I know it's a lot to ask out of a 20-year-old, but if you can channel that on a nightly basis, you're going to be looking pretty solid. And he looked so good last night on both sides of the ball. But like I said, it's early. I don't want to leave it off the table that if they're kind of middling around 500 by the trade deadline, it's like, we might have to bring in a vet, but we're not there yet. It's still early, so we're all good.
I'm with you. It's the way I would do it. Play it out for another month. Let this thing stabilize. Let guys try to sink into their roles. Hopefully you can stay relatively healthy. 888-957-9570. We're starting December. Warriors are 11-11. I think they're in a real good spot, especially after their start. What do you think? At 95.7 The Game.